Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we're putting together a 3.5 inch 12 gauge buckshot shell here. This is 24 pellets of 29 caliber number 1 buck. Now number 1 buckshot is usually 30 cal, however 29 cal works just as good if not better in some loads. You can get 2 or 3 more pellets and keep the same powder charge, generally speaking. They stack by 3s in 16 gauge inside of a wad. They stack by 2s inside 20 gauge wads. It's just a great size. 29 cal is awesome. I'm not sure when the last 3.5 inch 12 gauge buckshot video went live on YouTube in this format, but I can tell you guys it's been about 2 months since I've loaded any, and that's just not right. 3.5 inch 12 gauge and 10 gauge. That is our jam. Me and Josh both. We love loading it. We love shooting them. Anyway, the components we're using today is, I have the hull sitting over here, a once fired Remington Premier 3.5 inch 12 gauge shell. I've got this resized and reprimed with a Pellet CX2000. We're using long shot powder, a precision reloading TUPR W1235 wad, which is the 3.5 inch 12 gauge non-tox wad that they offer. That wad is, imagine a TPS, but a little bit shorter to prevent having to trim them, and a good bit thicker and a whole lot tougher. These precision reloading wads pattern insanely well. You've heard the term pie plate size pattern at 50 yards. Well, these wads are very, very capable of doing just that. Next, we're using a 20 gauge 1/4 inch felt wad and a mylar wrap. This is the Ballistic Products My Slim Mylar, or My Thin Mylar, excuse me, for 10 and 12 gauge, and 24 pellets of 29 cal number 1 buck. This is actually from Ballistic Products. It is their super buckshot, I believe. Yeah, super buckshot. They come in 8-pound jars. This stuff is awesome. Pretty round, decently hard. It's some pretty good buckshot. We're using ITX buffer. I'll have to go grab it over here. Here it is, the ITX buffer, which again has been rebranded to BSB, but it is the same product. And lastly, we're using a 12 gauge 1/8 inch felt wad. That is going to be our overshot card. Pretty simple load, although it does have quite a few components in it. So to get this started, once again, I have a Pellet CX2000 primer in here. We need 26 grains of long shot. I have it coming out of this Lee Perfect Powder Measure. Thank you, Gary. We need the TUPRW 1235 wad, which I think that's what it's called. If I'm wrong, correct me. But go ahead and get that seated. Gonna seat that using the depriming punch on my reload all. And this wad comes up exactly where it needs to be for a fold crimp. Not sure if you guys can see it. Let me try actually focusing on it. Ain't gonna do it, but it is at the right stack height. Next, 20 gauge 1/4 inch felt wad. These actually go together fairly quick. Gonna need to grab Gary Caskey's wad tamper here to help seat that, because my finger's too fat to fit down inside that wad. But we have it in there. There's no way you can see this. I don't even know why I try. Now, the 29 cal here, you can stack it by 2s, but it is a little bit hard. Actually, I forgot mylar wrap. All you gotta do is roll it up and drop that down inside your hull. Just like that. Again, you can't see it. Now, I'm stacking these by 3s, but you can get them to stack by 2s. Again, doing that is a little bit difficult. And 24 pellets of the 29 cal comes up almost to the top of the wad. There is a little bit of room left inside the wad, which is why we're using the felt wad for an overshot card instead of like a regular overshot card. But yeah, we're ready for buffer now. As this sits right now, it is a 1.96 ounce load, so just under 2 ounces. After you add the buffer, this will be an even 2 ounce load. So it's not crazy heavy. You can get 2 ounces in 3 inch 12 gauge, but for 3.5 inch, 2 ounces is kind of just getting started. With lead shot, you can take 3.5 inch 12 gauge all the way up to 2 3/4 ounces. So that took about 1 3/4 scoops of a Lee 2.2 cc dipper worth of buffer. Now for the 12 gauge 1 inch or 1/8 of an inch overshot card right on top, and we're ready to crimp this. Before I crimp this, I just want to apologize for the lighting in this video. Normally I film these when it's not. Well, it is midday right now and it's very, very bright outside, and my iPhone is having a lot of trouble with the white balance. Right now it looks alright, but throughout most of this video it's looked pretty dark. So just wanted to apologize for that, but we are ready to crimp this. Back station of the Lee Load-All. Had trouble seeing the crimp on the hull there. I have a 28 gauge OMB die in the way. I just now noticed that. That's okay. Let's take those off real quick. Alright, problem solved. Now let's crimp this. Here's the pre-crimp. Looks great. Whoa, almost dropped it. And there it is, guys. 3.5 inch 12 gauge, 24 pellets of 29 cal, #1 buckshot. Went together fairly easy. These Remington hulls crimp really well too. But there it is. Here's what it looks like after giving it a quick spin with the Got BN2. You can see the taper on it. Crimp is flawless. It didn't need it, but I like making my shells look pretty. Why not? That bump you see right here is from Precision Reloading pressure testing these, from what I understand. These did come from Precision Reloading. Very nice looking haul, by the way. That shiny green and gold, excellent color together. Big green torpedoes. 3.5 inch, whether it be 10 or 12 gauge, guys, it's just, they're so much fun to shoot. Loads like this pattern incredibly well. They are great for buckshot, steel, bismuth. They're not really that useful for TSS because you can get some really heavy loads in 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge. But 3.5 inch is just, there's just something about it that it really appeals to both me and Josh. They're so much fun. But we are the kind of people that love shooting heavy recoiling Magnum loads, whether it be a shotgun or a rifle or a handgun. We love recoil. We also love really effective long-range loads. And we have spent a lot of time developing 3.5 inch 10 and 12 gauge buckshot. It's our favorite thing to do, reloading-wise, I believe. But anyway, guys, we want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and now merch store, will all be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.